Hey, how are you doing? It's Alan here from Looking for Warriors, and I want to talk about something really important. Really important to you doing what you want to do, and it's having no expectation of outcome. This is difficult because we want to have goals. I want to make X amount. I want to have this kind of house. I want to have this kind of body. I want to be this fit, whatever it is. We all have these goals, and we're told in their culture that we should have goals. But Scott Adams has changed this. Scott Adams completely changed it. He's talked about systems versus goals. Systems versus goals. And what makes systems work rather than goals? It's that there's no expectation of outcome. A goal is an outcome. You're trying to get an outcome. I want to make $1 million. What happens if you make $500,000? You've done pretty good, but you haven't achieved your goal. But also the weight of that goal is always on you. You're always in the mode of, I still haven't made the $1 million. I still haven't made the $1 million. The weight of that goal is on you all the time. And that's why systems work much better. I started doing a bit of running, and I had a great little system. I took this up from somewhere on the web, but it's basically you begin, I was pretty unfit when I started, you run 1 minute and you walk for 9. You won't run for 1 minute and you walk for 4. And you do that 6 times for half an hour for a week, and then the next week you run 2 minutes and you walk for 3. Then the next week you go up to 2.5 and 7 or something like that, but you keep going. And you get to the point where you can run for half an hour. But you never have a goal of running for half an hour. If your goal from the start was run for half an hour, you'd never do it. Your goal is just to run for 1 minute. Just do one. And even when you're later on you're doing 8 minutes and 2 minute walk. You do 8 minute run, 2 minute walk. Or even later on you're doing 12.5 minutes run and then 2.5 minutes walk, where you get a drink of water or whatever. You're always in the mode, well, I'm just there. Just another 2 minutes of running, just another minute of running. So you can always push yourself that little bit more. Just that tiny bit. So you're not pushing yourself to, I need to make $1 million, or I need to run for half an hour. You're just doing that tiny bit more. It's a system, it's not a goal. Agile is also a system. The Pomodoro technique is a system. I'm just going to work for the next 40 minutes. I'm not just going to work for the next 25 minutes. And I'm going to really focus during that time. It's a system, it's not a goal. The memory palace is a system, it's not a goal. All these things work because they're systems, they're not goals. And I found this in business as well. I started the business, I just did it because I enjoyed it. I loved it. I just loved the day-to-day of doing the business. And because I loved it, over time, I started making some proper real money. And then when I started making proper real money and I took employees on and stuff like that, then I set myself up a goal. I was making X amount. I'm not going to say what I was making X amount, but I wanted to double it. And I thought, well, if I double this amount of money, I could never spend that in my lifetime. But the second I set up that goal, everything started going wrong. Everything started going wrong, to the point where I had to let everybody go, and they went completely out of business. As soon as I set up the goal, as long as I was doing, the system was growing. Now, there was other factors, yeah. The economy changed and other bits and pieces changed, but I'm sure now, just thinking back on it so many times, I'm sure it was that I just had an expectation of outcome for the first time ever. Before that, I was just doing it because I enjoyed it. I liked talking to people, I liked phoning people. I enjoyed the process of selling. I didn't really see it as selling, but I enjoyed that process of talking to people and making connections. But the second it was a goal, it came into a real job and a real task. First time I really started working on it, and it completely fell apart. So systems versus goals, no expectation of outcome. So if you work on what you love every day, just because you love doing it, with no expectation of outcome, that is how you're going to get the absolute most out of what you're doing. That's why the Pomodoro technique works. That's why all these techniques work, including memory palace and everything else, because there's no expectation of outcome. And that running system that I was talking about too, no expectation of outcome. I'm just doing 1 more minute. I'm just doing another 20 minutes of focus time work here. No expectation of outcome. It works every time. Try to have no expectation of outcome when you're working. It's been Alan here from Looking for Warriors. The only outcome I expect from you right now is to subscribe to this channel. Hit the subscribe button.